Coming up on today's edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast, it is Thursday. You know what that means? Crossover Thursday. We'll look at the next team up on the schedule for the Silver and Black, and that's the New England Patriots. They'll make their trip to Allegiant Stadium. Bill Belichick, Josh McDaniels, we'll hear about it all week long, but we're going to cross it over. Mike Debate, host of Locked On Patriots, he'll join the show. We'll talk about the storylines. We'll talk about the biggest matchups, and of course, we'll talk about the game flow, how it could be won or lost by the Raiders or the Patriots. I got a few news and notes we'll get to as well. This is coming up on a Thursday, a loaded Thursday, a crossover Thursday on the Locked On Raiders podcast, December 15th, 2022.
Just win. Just win. Just win. Just win.
The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you round and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won. And won. And won. And won. And won.
And welcome in, Raider Nation, to another edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast. Thank you so much for making the show your first listen each and every day. Remember, you can find the Locked On Raider podcast free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. Definitely appreciate everyone who checks us out by way of YouTube. And definitely shout out to my guy, Ari, at Ari Produces on Twitter, as the guy that makes everything go and make sure we're up on YouTube each and every day. Today's edition of the Locked On Raiders podcast is presented by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. You pick 2 to 5 players. If they score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on your entry. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with promo code Locked On. That's prizepicks.com, promo code Locked On. Got a couple pieces of news and notes I want to get to from Wednesday before we jump into the crossover Thursday edition with Mike Debate and myself talking all things Patriots and Raiders. So first and foremost, let's go over the Raiders and Patriots injury report from Wednesday. And really, I'm not even going to go over the Patriots side of things. Mike will do that in the crossover edition. But let's go over the Raiders side of things for Wednesday, the injury report. 2 guys did not participate for the Silver and Black, guard Alex Bars and cornerback Rock Ya-Sin. Alex Bars went out on Thursday against the Rams, looked like a pretty bad knee injury, did not return. That's when John Simpson slid in there, didn't do a very good job, got waived on Friday. So Alex Bars, I don't think he plays on Sunday. Sounded like when we talked to Josh McDaniels on Wednesday that he didn't feel like he was going to play either. But Alex Bars did not participate on Wednesday. Rock Ya-Sin, dealing with the knee injury, did not participate either. He's been out since the Charger game. He left that game at Allegiant Stadium a little early and did not return. So 2 key contributors right there, Alex Bars and Rock Ya-Sin, both out on Wednesday as far as practice goes. Guys that were limited for the Silver and Black, Andrew Billings still dealing with the fibula injury, Jermaine Illuminor, an oblique and a wrist injury, Josh Jacobs, quad and a hand injury, Dylan Parham with the knee injury, Denzel Perryman with the hip injury, and Sam Webb with an illness. All those guys were limited. No other guys were on the injury report for Thursday. We'll get another one later today, another one on Friday, and then 90 minutes before kickoff, we'll know who's in and who's out. Also, one more piece of news as far as roster goes. Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow, talked about them a couple times. The Raiders did designate both of those guys for return from the reserve injured list, meaning they have 21 days to actually activate them onto the active roster. They did practice on Wednesday, which is a good sign. They did meet with the media in the locker room on Wednesday, which is a good sign. So everything is trending in the right direction for Waller and Renfrow to come back. Got to get through the rest of the week of practice and see how they feel and see what it looks like and see what the coaching staff thinks. But it's trending, again, in the right direction for Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow to be out there on Sunday versus the Patriots. Final piece of news I have, and then we'll jump right into the crossover edition. Trayvon Mullen, I talked about him. Obviously, he's a former Raider, was with the Cardinals, got waived on Tuesday, actually got claimed off waivers on Wednesday by the Dallas Cowboys. So Trayvon Mullen goes from the Raiders to the Cardinals. Now he's a Cowboy. End of the day, Raiders get a 7th-round pick from the Cardinals in exchange for the services from most of the season for Trayvon Mullen. Not that he did a whole lot, but for the most of the season, he was at least on the roster for the Arizona Cardinals. So that's all I got for you for news and notes here on the Locked On Raiders podcast, segment number 1 of today's crossover edition. Speaking of the crossover edition, let's go ahead and jump into it right now, talking all things biggest storylines. Mike Debate and myself here on a crossover Thursday on the Locked On Raiders podcast.
Q, it is always an honor and always a pleasure to join you on the microphone anytime we get to do any type of collaborative work here on Locked On. But it's especially fun when it's a crossover, and it's especially fun with all of the crosshairs between these two teams right now. And I fumbled that a little bit, but you know what? I think it's appropriate. There is a lot of synergy between these two franchises right now.
Yeah, there really is. We've talked in the past before, and we usually talk about the past, right? That's usually what the Raiders and the Patriots have in common is things of old. We talk about the Tuck rule, we talk about this, that, and the other, right? But this time around, I mean, you got coaches that used to be with the Patriots, now with the Raiders. You got players that used to be in New England, now with the Raiders. I mean, there's so much going on. There's, not really a whole lot of success right now with the Raiders. And, offensively for the Patriots, there's some struggles. So, yeah, man, there's a lot of intermingling and crosshairs and everything. So yeah, you hit it right on the head, man. You did it perfectly.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? It is a lot of fun to do these crossovers, and especially when Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels are staring across from each other on various sidelines. It's always going to be a lot of fun. And folks, we're going to talk a lot about the key matchups, things to watch, what to keep an eye on in this one. But Q, as we all know, matchups between two teams that are right now still vying for a playoff spot. I know a lot of Raiders fans may roll their eyes, but at 5-8, they're still alive in this. New England Patriots clinging to that final seventh AFC playoff spot. Wins are a premium. They
Yeah.
absolutely are a premium. And when you look at the two teams and the trajectory that they're both following, this is a must win for both clubs. So, be that as it may, for the benefit of my listeners on Locked On Patriots, what are the big storylines that the New England Patriots fans should keep an eye on when it comes to the Las Vegas Raiders heading into this matchup?
Well, there's a couple for the Raiders. One is just the story and the theme of the whole season where the Raiders are just trying to get on track. They're trying to find their way. They're trying to learn what Josh McDaniels is trying to coach, what Patrick Graham is trying to coach defensively, what Mick Lombardi is trying to preach as the offensive coordinator. I mean, they're trying to pick that up and they're trying to master it. They haven't done that yet. There's glimpses where you're like, wow, okay, I can see what this team could look like. But then there's other moments where you scratch your head and say, what the hell was that? Right. So, I mean, there's so many different storylines and just guys not really on the same page yet, and they're still trying to figure things out. That's one big storyline. That's the overall big picture as far as the whole season goes. But I'll tell you, most recently, losing that Thursday night football game to the Rams, and Baker Mayfield, who had only been on the team for about 2 days, basically got a cup of coffee before he took the field in SoFi Stadium on Thursday night football, week 14. That one is really what's been lingering with Raider Nation. So now the big storyline is how does the team bounce back? How do they bounce back from a game that they had in they had it right there. They had the W and they lost it. And now it's the fourth loss that they've had this season that they had a double-digit lead in, which is, just something that can't happen. That can't happen in the NFL. This is a production-based business, and the production hasn't been good in those games that they've lost. So if you have those 4 games that they were up by double digits and all of a sudden you turn those around and turn them into W's, I mean, you're a 9-win team. So obviously they're not, because they've only won 5 games. So that's the difference really in between a very successful season and a struggle of a season, which they've had. So the short-term storyline, how does the team bounce back from what they did Thursday night against the Rams, where they lost that game to Baker Mayfield and company? And then the big picture is, at what point do they get on the same page with Josh McDaniels and the rest of the coaching staff and the front office with what they want to do? So that's, I guess, in a nutshell, what the Patriot fans should be kind of looking for in this game on Sunday. As far as, storylines for the Patriots, again, I know you mentioned that they're, clinging to that last little playoff spot. What else do they have going on as far as storylines?
Yeah, in terms of storylines right now, Q, for Raider Nation, the Patriots all about injuries right now, believe it or not. A rash of injuries running through the New England Patriots. Lost 3 key members in their victory over the Arizona Cardinals on Monday night. Devontae Parker sidelined with a head injury. That right now is under review from the NFL and the NFLPA. Some question as to whether or not the independent spotter that was supposed to be monitoring the situation maybe dropped the ball a little bit and did not yank Devontae as quickly as he should. He's currently under evaluation. He did not practice on Wednesday. So right now we're concerned and looking at his long-term health. If I'm being honest, prognosis for him suiting up on Sunday is right now iffy at best. So
Right.
keep an eye on that. That would be a huge loss to the New England Patriots, one of their top receivers and definitely their top contested catch weapon on offense. But it's more than that for the Patriots. Jacoby Myers, their top wideout right now, continues to remain in concussion protocol. And because of that, that could end up compromising the New England Patriots wide receiver score by taking out their 2 top options. Now, Jacoby did come back to practice on Wednesday, was limited in his capacity. We haven't seen him cleared from concussion protocol, so that's one to monitor right there. But again, it does not end with the wideouts. The 2 top running backs for the New England Patriots have their own injury concerns. Ramondre Stevenson suffered an ankle injury on Monday night. He came out of the game, came back in for a little bit, tried to give it a go, left the field, did not return. He did not practice on Wednesday. Something big time to monitor there. He's been one of the Patriots' workhorses so far, and arguably their most consistent offensive player. Then you look at Damian Harris, their number 2 running back, was their number 1 last year. Ramondre has leapfrogged him this year, but Damian, suffering from a thigh injury, he hasn't practiced. He hasn't been out there a while. Did return to practice on Wednesday, limited. So keep an eye on him. If Ramondre can't go, my guess is that Damian will do everything he can to be out there on Sunday. But again, just a rash of injuries for the New England Patriots. One good thing for the Pats, Christian Barmore, defensive tackle, missed the last 4 games. He's back out on the field. His 21-day window to return from injured reserve is open. So does that mean that we see Christian Barmore on Sunday? I'm optimistic as a Patriots fan. We'll see what happens. But right now, a lot of questions surrounding the New England Patriots' health for a team that really needs to be as healthy as it can be, especially to get back on track on offense, Q.
You know what's funny is that, and you hit it right there on the head, what you said. You said to get back on track on offense, because what you told me right there is that, hey, the defense is healthy. The defense is fine. And you know what? The defense has been playing lights out. They've been playing some really good ball. Obviously, we all saw them on the national stage on Monday night come up with 6 sacks. And, man, that's one unit right there that they don't need any extra help. And when you say Christian Barmore has been activated and he's got at least 20, the 21-day window is open now, I'm hoping, for the Raiders' sake, that maybe they just hold him out a little bit longer and let him return after this game on Sunday. Because, man, I don't think that defensive line needs too much more help as of right now, at least.
Yeah, the front seven's looking pretty good for the Patriots, but there are concerns at the cornerback position. Jack Jones, the rookie, he's been electrifying in that secondary. He's battling a knee injury right now, did not practice on Wednesday, so keep an eye on that. And Jalen Mills has missed the last game with a groin injury. Optimistic that he may be able to give it a go on Sunday, but still, he is limited on his practice ability on Wednesday. So keep an eye on that. Derek Carr and the Raiders' brain trust on offense, especially Josh McDaniels, going to be keeping a close eye on those two, because if you're missing that key component of the secondary, this Patriots defense can break down a little bit. So that could be very much telltale for the Raiders and the Patriots this weekend, Q.
It should be interesting, and that is definitely going to be a hell of a chess match. I know we'll talk matchups coming up in the next segment. I guess the final storyline for both of us would probably have to be Belichick versus McDaniels. I mean, that's the storyline that writes itself, and I'm sure that you've had to talk about it a lot. I have to talk about it more than I want to, and more than Josh McDaniels wants to talk about it. But it's one of those, like I said, it's built in, it's obvious. It was there in the preseason when the two teams squared up. It's definitely going to be all week long leading up to this game on Sunday.
Absolutely. Bill was not in a talkative mood when we asked him about that on Wednesday. His response was, yeah, I've already discussed that. We talked about that in the preseason. And that's pretty much what you're going to get from Bill. No, I'm kidding, folks. He eventually will give Josh his just due. And look, there is no one that respects Josh McDaniels more than Bill Belichick. These two are still extremely close. They still have a very much respectful relationship between the two of them. No acrimony there. So this is going to be a friendly competition. But keep in mind that if there is a kryptonite to the Bill Belichick train, it is former coaches that know his tendencies. Mike Vrabel has had success against Bill in the past. Bill O'Brien has had a little bit of success against him in the past. Josh McDaniels has as well. He beat him when he was the head coach of the Denver Broncos. The Raiders got the better of the Patriots in preseason. I know it's preseason, but still, at the same time, something to watch there. Bill may have taught Josh everything he knows, but Josh absorbed an awful lot of what Bill knows and is very good at being able to read what he may do. So that's another one to keep an eye on this weekend. Q, there are so many storylines here, so much to talk about, and so many great storylines coming out of this. But as you and I both know, these games come down to the matchups, and that's exactly what we're going to discuss here on Locked On Patriots and Locked On Raiders Crossover Thursday when this episode continues. But first, at Locked On Patriots and at Locked On Raiders, we believe home should be where you and your family feel the safest, especially over the holidays. This season, give yourself and your family the gift of peace and protection with the #1 rated home security system, and that is Simply Safe. Don't put this off. Do it today. And here's why we both love Simply Safe. Simply Safe is a whole home security. Advanced sensors, HD security cameras, just smarter ways to detect motion to alert you when a threat is actually real, and Fast Protect technology, exclusively from Simply Safe, helps priority first response. Even hazard sensors that detect fires, floods, other threats to your home, 24/7 professional monitoring service that costs under $1 a day, less than half the price of traditional home security systems. With the top rated Simply Safe app, you stay in complete control of your system. You can arm or disarm, unlock for a guest, access your cameras, or adjust system settings anytime and anywhere. So don't miss your chance to save big on my favorite home security system, and that's Simply Safe. You can get 40% off any new system at simplysafe.com/lockedonnfl today. That's simplysafe.com/lockedonnfl. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Patriots fans, Raider Nation, we are crossing the streams here on Crossover Thursday on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your boy Q, host of the Locked On Raiders podcast, and of course myself, Mike Debate, host of Locked On Patriots. Q, we teased in the previous segment that these games come down to the key matchups, and I know Raiders fans and Patriots fans are looking forward to seeing a lot of great football. I know Patriots fans are looking forward to seeing a lot of familiar faces on your side of the coin. But when you look at this from a Raiders perspective, what are the key matchups that you're eyeing in this game, and which ones do you think give the Raiders the edge here?
Wow. I mean, now that you put that little twist on the end right there, give the Raiders a twist. That's a great question. I would have to say Devontae Adams with whoever's matching up with them because he's Devontae
Mm-hmm.
Adams, right? I mean, so, and I know that the Patriots defense is really their strength and they're playing really well there. So I just like Devontae Adams' chance pretty much with anybody, right? I mean, you've seen how great he could
Right.
be. So I guess that's kind of the low hanging fruit. That's the easy answer. So I'll kind of focus in on the trenches, right? And I'll say this as well when it comes to where's the Raiders' weaknesses, but I'll say for the strength,
Mm-hmm.
I think the trenches are with Max Crosby trying to get after Mac Jones, right? I know that
Mm-hmm.
the Patriots' offensive line isn't 100% solid. It's not the greatest, it ain't the greatest line of protection there, and I think that Max Crosby, who's having a fantastic season, is just going to continue to get better and better and better and show who he is. So I think that as far as strength, I'll just say, Max Crosby, potentially Chandler Jones. He's starting to get a little bit better each and every week. He's been playing a little bit better as of late. He got off to a very slow start. So I think that they're coming along pretty nicely. So I'll kind of look at those two guys and just say the Raiders defensive line against the Patriots offensive line. And then, of course, you got to throw in like I said, the low hanging fruit of Devontae Adams against anybody because, well, he's Devontae Adams. And there's not necessarily a simple shutdown guy on the other side of the ball. There's some really good ones. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to sound disrespectful. There's some really good players on that defensive side of the ball for the Patriots, but you also have Devontae Adams on the on the Raiders side of the ball, and he is fantastic and has been fantastic all season long.
Absolutely. I am in complete agreement. And that is a matchup I'm closely watching is Devontae Adams' ability to take advantage of what could be a banged up secondary for the New England
Right.
Patriots. And I alluded to this in the previous segment. If Jalen Mills is compromised, even if he comes back, groin injuries are very, very difficult to gauge. He may be less than 100%. He's been very solid in terms of coverage this year for the Patriots. But if he is compromised in any way, that puts an awful lot of pressure on Jonathan Jones, who has been phenomenal since moving over from the slot into the perimeter area. He's their fastest corner. He's probably their best cover corner right now as well. So when you look at what Jonathan may have to do, he may be matched up in man coverage with Devontae if the Patriots are not capable of using that big nickel safety and swarming the defensive backfield with defensive backs. If that happens, we've seen guys like Justin Jefferson and Stephon Diggs absolutely shred this offense. Shred this defense. So if that is indeed the case,
Mm-hmm.
advantage Raiders at that point. What do the Patriots do to try to take that away? Normally, what you would say is you would take Jack Jones, you would take Jonathan Jones, utilize those, maybe have Jonathan play on the Raiders' number 2 receiver and have Jack and a combination of maybe Miles Bryant in the slot or maybe Jalen Mills try to contain Devontae Adams and possibly have Jabril Peppers, the enforcer at the safety position, come over and go over the top. That's been the Patriots' modus operandi for success in trying to develop and really contain or marginally disrupt, I think is the best way to put it, what a number 1 wideout like Devontae Adams can do. But Devontae can beat you in so many different ways that if the Patriots sputter in that regard, Derek Carr is going to eat that up, and Devontae is going to feast on this secondary. So that is a matchup I really want to watch very closely, and I think it's going to come down to health on this one. On the offensive side of the ball for the New England Patriots, I know everybody's expecting me to talk about maybe Mac Jones trying to take advantage of the secondary, especially with Rocky Austin out right
Mm.
now, or has been, had difficulty with his health. We don't know if he's going to be out on Sunday yet, but at this point, I'm more concerned if I'm the Patriots about trying to contain Chandler Jones. We know very well what Chandler can do up here in New England, and even though he got off to a slow start, 4 sacks in his last 2 games, really shows that he's starting to settle in to the Raiders defense. And Trent Brown, for lack of a better term, has not been Trent Brown that we remember from the previous years. He struggled a lot this year.
Oh,
And
so
I
he's the
know
guy
that
that
brings
Nature remembers.
and I know that brings a smile to Raiders fans' faces, and they're all going, I told you so. But
Right.
Trent Brown has struggled this year. And even though Cole Strange has been a total stud as a first round draft pick, been very solid at the left guard position, he's still a rookie. And Chandler Jones is a savvy veteran. That can be a very lethal combination for the Raiders' favor if Trent Brown is suffering and he's unable to provide that protection from the left side. So if the Patriots can control the left side, that's going to be key for them to keeping Mac Jones healthy in the pocket. And I mean, healthy figuratively in the pocket, keep him upright, and give him the time he needs to complete the passes that he needs to. If that happens, Patriots have a chance to move the ball. If it doesn't, going to be a long day in Vegas for the New England Patriots.
Well, I'll say this flip side, you look at the weaknesses and the matchups that concern me the most when it comes to this game. I'm really looking at the trenches again, and I'm looking at what the Patriots have done, not only on Monday Night Football against the Cardinals, coming up with 6 sacks, but really all season long. I mean, where they had around 45 sacks so far in the season. I mean, they're
Absolutely.
getting home. They've got dudes on that defensive line, and so Alex Bars went down for the Raiders on Thursday Night Football against the Rams, and the Raiders' offensive line didn't really rebound that well. They had John Simpson. They slid him into the right guard spot. He didn't play very well. They waived him on Friday. So there's a big question mark on this Raiders offensive line. And I don't think that the Patriots and that defensive line is a team that you want to have a question mark against when you're that offensive line. Talking to head coach Josh McDaniels on Wednesday, I asked him straight up, like, hey, what's the challenges that defensive line, brings, and how is that going to, affect your offensive line that's still got question marks? And he went on for about 1 minute and 45 seconds about how challenging that Patriots defense line is. So that's my big concern right there, because I think that the Raiders have the weapons to get it done. Devontae Adams, maybe Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow come back. Josh Jacobs, we know what he's able to do. But man, if Derek Carr doesn't have any time and there's no holes for Josh Jacobs to run through, then you mentioned a long day at Allegiant Stadium. It could very well be a long day at Allegiant Stadium, except for the home team will be the ones having the long day in the silver and black. That defensive line for the Patriots is nasty, as you very well know.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And that is where a guy like Christian Barmore can really make a difference. If he's
You
healthy
don't
and
need him.
he's
You don't need him
capable.
these days. Give him some time off, brother. Give him some time off.
Patriots fans want to see him back. I want to see him back. But no, all
No.
kidding aside, if he is healthy and he's able to go, that takes so much pressure off guys like Lawrence Guy and Devon Godchow and Dietrich Wise, who have been excellent in containing and really drawing the double team from opposing offensive lines. Barmore does that on his own. He takes on at least 2 guys at all times. That frees up guys like Matthew Judon to get after the quarterback. Now you throw Josh Uche into the mix. 10 sacks in his last 5 or 6 games. Defensive player of the week in the AFC. This kid is really starting to feel it right now. And if you get those guys open and in one-on-one lanes, yeah, then the Patriots can start to tee off. So that's their key right there. If Barmore's healthy, they can do it. If he's not healthy and he can't go in this game, they still have the horses to be able to do it, but it only makes it that much more difficult for opposing offensive lines to contain them when you have someone like Barmore that can draw a double team or at least draw decoys for the Patriots. So it's going to be an interesting game, Q. And we're almost
Yeah.
at the time where we're going to make our game predictions here on Locked On Patriots and Locked On Raiders crossover Thursday. We will do so when your boy Q and Mike Debate return to wrap things up here on this crossover Thursday episode of the Locked On Patriots and Locked On Raiders podcast, Week 15 edition. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our good friends at betonline.net, your number one source for sports betting information, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds, the latest trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to college bowl season to basketball and World Cup soccer. We've got it all at betonline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can even find those on BetOnline as well. They're always the fastest, the easiest way to get your betting info. So head over to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts. You're hanging out with some friends and you're putting back a few drinks. A few becomes a few too many, and the evening comes to an end and people start to head out. You think of calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. You can make it home okay. It's no big deal. What's the odds that you'll get pulled over anyway? And even so, what's the worst that could happen? Your insurance goes up, you lose your license. How about you lose your job? How about you total your car? How about you kill someone? Everyone knows about the risks of driving drunk. The results are tragic and they're often deadly. However, that still doesn't stop everyone from getting behind the wheel while under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Play it safe, plan ahead, get a ride. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over. Patriots fans, Raider Nation, it is always fun when your boy Q and Mike Debate of Locked On Patriots and Locked On Raiders lock horns, cross the streams, whatever you want to say. I absolutely love sharing the microphone with this man, and it's always a lot of fun. We're at that time, my friend. It is time for predictions. The
Don't do
Patriots
it.
and the Raiders.
Don't do
You
it.
know what? You know what, Bud? This has been circled on the calendars of
Yeah.
Patriots fans and Raiders fans like you can't imagine.
Right.
It's the opportunity for the Raiders to say, you know what? We've got the upper hand. We've got the younger generation leading our team now, and Josh McDaniels and Carmen Brasillo, and
Right.
the whole 9 yards.
Yep.
You've got all guys. You got Mick Lombardi over there. You got Bo Hardigree on those sidelines.
Yep.
You've got Jarrett Stidham. You've got Jakob Johnson. You've got my friend Murph's main man, Brandon Bolden. There are so many.
Yeah.
Jermaine Illuminor, Chandler Jones. You name it. It just and I haven't even scratched the surface yet, folks. So a lot of expatriates on that side of
Right.
the ball. On the Patriots side of the ball, you're looking at it and saying we still got Bill Belichick. We've still got the opportunity to have the upper hand here. So, Q, we've talked about the matchups, we've talked
Yeah.
about the big stories. How does this shake out in the Nevada desert? Paradise, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium. It's 3 hours past 4:05 p.m. here on the East Coast, 1:05 over on the West Coast. How did this one shake out in your estimation?
It's going to be interesting, man. And there's so many elements that go into this game, but I really think that for the Raiders to have success and come away with the victory like they obviously want to, and get that ugly taste out of their mouth from that Thursday night football loss against the Rams at SoFi Stadium, Week 14. I think that they really have to have a lot of success on first down. I mean, I think it just has to be first down success, because if not, as I mentioned in segment 2 when we talked about the matchups, I just feel like that Patriot defensive line could pin their ears back and really get after Derek Carr. And I think it's going to be a long day in the desert if they can do that consistently throughout the course of the day. So I think that they have to have a heavy dose of Josh Jacobs offensively, and also they've got to get Devontae Adams involved early and continue to have him involved throughout the course of the game. Not just go to him early like they did on Thursday and then go away from him. I mean, he only had 3 catches, all in the first half, none in the second half. That can't happen. They've got to make sure 17 is their weapon. They've got to keep the Patriots honest, right? Don't be able to just load the box, or don't be able to just, key in on Devontae Adams. They have to have a nice blend of passes and throws. I mean, they have to have a balanced offense. They just, there's a lot of things that are going to go into this game. And again, that defense of the Patriots makes me nervous. The offense doesn't concern me that much, right? I mean, I feel like that they're going to score, obviously. They're going to do their thing, but it's not like they're some prolific offense where they're just going to be throwing the ball all over the yard and putting up 35, 40 points, and it's like, oh, man, the Raiders don't stand a chance. The Raiders can match up with them offensively, and I think they're even better than them offensively, but that defense of the Patriots, man, they make plays. They get after the quarterback. They score points, right? I mean, they score points. So that's a concern too. So I think this one's going to be a close one. I really am not good at score predictions. And normally I have a gut feeling if who's going to win this game. I honestly don't. Like, I don't even want to lie to you. I don't even have an opinion on who's going to win this game. I just think that it's really going to come down to first down. And if the Raiders can execute consistently on first down, I think they have a great chance of winning that game and getting that taste out of their mouths from Thursday night, and especially being at home. wanted to finish off this season really strong. They got 4 games left, and to beat Bill Belichick and the Patriots would be, bittersweet for Raider Nation, for, the players in that locker room, for Coach McDaniels. Obviously, he's not going to say it means something to him, but it does. We know that. We saw how excited he was when he beat the Patriots when he was the Broncos head coach. So we all know it means something. But honestly, man, I think that the Raiders can win if they consistently are successful on first down. And I know that that's not a prediction on who's going to win the game, but that's how they'll win the game if they win the game, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. As much as the first down issue is very vital for the Las Vegas Raiders, and I completely agree that it is, for the Patriots, it's about third down. It's about executing in the red zone, and that's been a difficulty for the New England Patriots throughout the season. Mac Jones has had a very difficult time acclimating himself to the quick game, the screen passes that are being called by Matt Patricia and this offensive brain trust. And it's caused a little bit of difficulty, and it's caused some confusion. It's even caused some expletive-laden tirades. I'm sure some of your fans have seen those. Mac Jones has not been happy at
Yeah.
times, but all seems to be on the same page with the Patriots this week. We've talked to the coaches. We've talked to Mac. Everyone assures that everyone is on the same page this week. So whether or not that translates to the field is something to be said. But if the Patriots are to be successful here, they have to execute on third down. They have to get the sticks across, or move the sticks, I should say. But what they need to do also is execute in the red zone. This has not been a very good red zone team. They got 2 red zone touchdowns on Monday night from the legs of 2 rookie running backs, Pierre Strong, Kevin Harris. Each one had their first touchdown of their pro career. They did that with both Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson out of the lineup. They're not going to have the luxury of sneaking up on people this week because Josh is going to game plan for these guys. He's going to know what their strengths and what their weaknesses are. So are the Patriots going to be able to utilize those weapons in the red zone? I think you may see them go to the tight ends a little bit more. The Raiders have typically had difficulty containing tight ends, especially in short yardage situations. I believe, and Q, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe the Raiders are yielding just over 50 yards average per game to opposing tight ends. So if the Patriots are going to be able to utilize that dose of Hunter Henry, a dose of
Yeah.
Jonnu Smith, who hasn't been very heavily utilized, but I think you may see him a little bit more, especially if Jacoby Myers is compromised or out, and if Devontae Parker is out for this game, as we had expected. Patriots are going to need good physical receivers to take on a pretty good secondary in Las Vegas, and the tight ends can do it. So that's how the Patriots win this game, is execute on third down, execute in the red zone. If they can do that, they can definitely put some points up on the board, and that defense can start to take things over. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring affair, but
Right.
I do think it's going to be extremely close, and I think this one could go either way.
I do too. I really do. And I guess to put a kind of bow on it, I'll say that the Raiders win this game if they have success on first down and don't turn the ball over. How about that? If there's no turnovers in the end of the game, when it says 0-0-0, there's no turnovers, and they had really good success on first down, I say that the Raiders are going to come away with the victory. But if they're consistently in second and third and long, and they turn the ball over a time or two, there's no shot. Bill Belichick, the Patriots, they're too good. Hell, the Patriots defense might just go ahead and score on those turnovers. So that's the way that the Raiders will lose the game. I think that I feel very confident in saying that.
And I 100% agree with you. And I'm not very confident in any aspect of this game, or overconfident, I should say. I'm confident that the Patriots can hold their own, but I'm not overconfident in any aspect of this game except for one. And you hit the nail right on the head. If the Patriots are forcing turnovers and scoring off of turnovers, then I don't think they lose this game. They've scored more off of turnovers than any other team in the league. 85 points right now off turnovers for the New England Patriots.
Wow.
That special teams unit has been great. That defense has been great about taking things away, and they've been setting up the offense to make easy scores in those situations too. Really should be higher because the Patriots have settled for field goals in more situations than not when those turnovers put them in scoring positions. So that, to me, is going to be the key for the Raiders to contain it and for the Patriots to force it. I think whoever wins that battle comes away with this victory.
There you go. I like it. And I'm with you 100%, man. That's exactly what it is right there. And when I leave Allegiant Stadium on Sunday, it'll be one way or the other. If there's turnovers, it'll be an L for the Raiders. If there's no turnovers, I feel good about the W. So yeah, that's a great way to, like I said, put a bow on this. And I definitely feel confident there as far as that conversation goes.
Absolutely. And at that point, you know what, folks? I don't think we can say it any better than we've said it up to this point. Once again, it is my honor and my privilege to join your boy Q on these crossover episodes, as it is each and every week on Crossover Thursday. One of my favorite aspects about being a part of this network is getting a chance to share the microphone with the great stable of hosts that we have here on Locked On. And we definitely hope all of you in Patriots fandom and in Raider Nation enjoy this game coming up on Sunday, because I think it's going to be a great one between the Pats, the Raiders, Old Lion against Young Lion, Bill Belichick versus Josh McDaniels. Any way you want to market this, it's going to be a fun one. So, on behalf of your boy Q of Locked On Raiders, I'm Mike Debate of Locked On Patriots. Thank you for making our shows a daily part of your NFL coverage and also your first listen every day. Now that you've made us your first listen, make your second listen our good friends over at Locked On Sports Today. All the sports news you need from all the major sports, and they even give you the take of the day. How much better can it get? Download Locked On Sports Today on Odyssey app, on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Folks, thank you once again for tuning in today. Stay safe, stay well, be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day and enjoy the game on Sunday.